Hi dears, in the last class we have discussed about the parts of the flower, and in this section we are going to learn about these different parts and its function. Okay, so we can see that in a flower there are mainly 4 whorls. The 4 whorls in a flower are calyx, corolla, antecium and gynoecium. So now we are going to study about the calyx. We know that here this is the calyx. Okay, this green colored part is known as the calyx. Here also we can see the calyx, this one. Okay, so calyx is the outermost whorl of a flower, and the individual, the constituent parts of the calyx, the constituent units of the calyx is known as the sepals. Okay, so these are the sepals, can be seen here, this one. These are the sepals. So in some flowers, the sepals may be free, like here. In the case of this rose, you can see the sepals are what? Free. They are free here. Okay, we can see these sepals are what? Free. Okay, such a condition is known as polysepalous. Okay, when the sepals are united, they are fused, like here. Here the sepals are what? Fused. Okay, here the sepals are fused. So that condition is known as what? Gamosepalous. Usually the sepals are green in color. You can see here the sepals are what? It is green in color. But in some flowers it may be brightly colored. At that time it is known as what? Petaloid sepals. It is known as petaloid sepals. And in some flowers there may be an additional part just below the calyx. You can see an additional whorl. That is known as what? The epicalyx. This part is known as the epicalyx. Okay. Then what is the function of this calyx? It protects the flower in the bud stage. In the bud stage, the calyx protects the flower. And we know that it is usually green in color, so that it can manufacture the food for the plant. So these two are the functions of what? The calyx. It is the outermost whorl of a flower. So the individual units of the calyx is known as the sepals. The sepals may be free. It is known as polysepalous. If it is united, if it is fused, it is known as gamosepalous. Okay. So now we are coming to the corolla. Corolla is the second whorl. Okay, and it is inner to the calyx. The constituent units of corolla is known as the petals. So here these are what? The brightly colored petals. So these are brightly colored petals. Here also another flower. Here also we can see the brightly colored petals. Okay. So the individual units are known as what? Petals. And if the petals are free, when the petals are free, the condition is known as what? The polypetalous. So here we can see in this flower we can see the free petals. Okay, all these are what? Free petals. Okay, so here also we can see here the petals are what? Free. Okay, petals are free. So this condition is known as what? The polypetalous condition. Sometimes the petals are united, they are fused. At that time the condition is known as gamopetalous. And we know that usually the petals are what? They may have different color. Okay. But in some cases the petals may be green in color. It may be green in color. At that time it is known as what? The condition is known as the sepaloid petals. Sepaloid petals. Then what is the function of this corolla? It protects the flower during the bud stage. It also protects the flower during the bud stage. And being brightly colored, it is very brightly colored, it can attract the insects for the pollination. So these are the two functions of what? The corolla. Now we are going to study about the next important part, that is what? The male reproductive part. It is known as androecium. Now we are coming to the next part, the third part of flower, that is what? Androecium. We know that it is the male reproductive wall of the flower, and it is inner to the corolla. The constant parts, the basic parts of this androecium is known as the stamens. So in the androecium we can see the stamens. Stamens are these are the individual units. Okay. So this stamen, it may consist of mainly two parts, which are known as the filament and the anther. I will show you this. Here you can see. So this flower, this is hibiscus, and we know that there are stamens in the androecium. The individual units are known as the stamens. So here, all these are what? The stamens. Okay, these are stamens. All these are what? There are so many stamens. So here you can see these individual stamens. Okay, so each stamen may consist of a filament and an anther. The long slender stalk, here this one, this longer slender stalk is known as what? This is the filament. Okay, then at the tip of this filament, this is the filament, and at the tip of this filament you can see a two-lobed structure. So here, this yellow part, this two-lobed, here it is what? Two-lobed. Okay, you can see here two lobes. Okay, so this two-lobed structure is known as the anther. Okay, and this anther is attached to this filament through a connect. There is a structure. This anther, it is attached to filament by a structure that is known as the connective. Okay, so this is the filaments and anther. It forms what? The stamens. Okay, and this anther is attached to filament through a structure that is known as what? Connective. Then each lobe of the anther. Okay, here you can see this each lobe of the anther. Okay, then each lobe of the anther, it consists of two chambers. These chambers are known as what? Pollen sacs. Inside the pollen sac there is what? Pollen grains. And in these pollen grains the male gametes develop. So the male gametes are developed in the pollen grains. Okay. Then usually the stamens are free. Usually in a flower the stamens are free. Okay. So such condition, in that case the stamens, it is known as what? Polyanthers. For example, mustard flowers. Okay. So usually in a flower the stamens are free. Okay. So that condition is known as what? Polyanthers. Then in some other type of flowers, for example here in China Rosa or the hibiscus, here what? The stamens are fused. So here you can see these are what? The stamens. Here all these stamens are what? Fused. All these stamens are fused to form a long tube-like structure. Okay. So this is the tube-like structure. So it is fused to form a tube. Okay. Such condition is known as what? Monodelphous. So it is what? It is a monodelphous. Okay. Then in some flowers, the filaments are arranged as two bundles. Okay. So at that time it is known as what? Diadelphous. Okay. For example, peas and gram. Then in some other flowers, the filaments which are united as several groups. Okay, such condition is known as what? Polydelphous. Okay, so there is what? polyanthus, monodelphous, diadelphous and polydelphous. Okay, so these are different conditions. Okay, so these are all about what the anthecium, and we know that this is the male reproductive part, and the constant unit, the individual units are known as what? The stamens. It consists of anther and a long slender stalk, that is known as what? The filament. Okay, so now we are moving to the innermost part of the flower that we know, that is what? The gynoecium or the pistil. Now let's go to the innermost wall of the flower, okay, that we know, which is what? The gynoecium or the pistil. Okay, the innermost part is known as the gynoecium or the pistil, and this is the female reproductive part. The constant units, the basic unit, the constant part of the gynoecium is known as the carpels. So here I am going to show you a carpel. Okay, so the constant parts are known as what? The carpels. Each carpel may consist of stigma, style and ovary. So here you can see this is the ovary, here it is style, and here this is the stigma. So that we can see there are 5 stigmas are here. Okay, 5 stigma. Okay, all these are what? Fused condition. It's a fused. Okay, it's a fused condition. So there is stigma, style and ovary. All these constitute what? A carpel. Okay, and the stigma, it is what? It is terminal. You can see here. This is the terminal part. It's terminal, sticky, and it may be flattened. Okay, maybe sticky, and depending upon the number of carpels, there are different types of what? They are of different types. Okay, they are what? Monocarpellary, bicarpellary and polycarpellary. So monocarpellary means there is only a single carpel, and in the case of bicarpellary you can see 2 carpels and more than 2 carpels. That condition is known as what? Polycarpellary. Then depending upon whether the carpels are free or fused, there are 2 types of gynoecium. There is apocarpus gynoecium and syncarpus gynoecium. Okay, so in the case of apocarpus gynoecium, the carpels are what? These are free. Then in this condition, that is syncarpus condition, the carpels are fused. So here in hibiscus, the carpels are what? It is fused. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are what? Fused. Okay, it's in the fused condition. Okay, so this is known as what? A syncarpus gynoecium. Okay, so that's all about the innermost wall of the flower. That is what? Pistil or what? Gynoecium. Now we are moving to the last portion of this chapter. Now we are moving to the last portion of this chapter. Okay, so that is the placentation and inflorescence. Very simple topic. Okay, the attachment of ovule inside the ovary. You can see this is the ovary. Okay, here the ovules are arranged. Okay, inside this we can see the ovules, and the attachment of these ovules inside the ovary is known as the placentation. Okay, then what is meant by the inflorescence? The arrangement of flower in the floral axis. The arrangement of flower. Okay, that is known as what? The inflorescence. Some flowers can be seen as single. Okay, that is what? Solitary. But there are flowers that can be seen as what? Inflorescence. So in the inflorescence, what it is? The arrangement of flower in the floral axis is known as what? The inflorescence. So I will show you an inflorescence. There are 2 types of inflorescence are there. Okay, and we know that the stalk of a flower is known as the pedicel. The stalk of a single flower is known as what? A pedicel. And in an inflorescence, the main axis, okay, here, the main axis is known as what? The peduncle. Okay, the main axis of the inflorescence is known as the peduncle, And each flower may have what? A pedicel, a stalk, that is known as what? Pedicel. And we had to study about two types of inflorescence. There are racemose inflorescence and the cymose inflorescence. So first we can see about the racemose. Okay, here the main axis never end in a flower. In racemose type of inflorescence, the main axis never end in a flower. And here the flowers which are arranged in an order, that manner is known as what? Acropetyl manner. The acropetyl manner. That means that the younger flowers can be seen at the tip and the older flowers that can be seen in the base. So here we can see that here. In this base we can see what? The older flowers are here. Okay, these are what? Older flowers. Okay, in this flower you can see here what? Anthricium is there. Then there may be ovary may be there. Okay, so this way in the base we can see what? The older flowers, and the younger flowers are in the tip. Okay, here we can see the younger flowers. Okay, these are the younger flowers. So here these are the older flowers. Okay, so this type of inflorescence is known as what? The racemose inflorescence. The main axis never end in a flower. The manner of the arrangement of the flower, that is known as what? Acropetyl arrangement. The younger flowers at the tip and the older flowers at the base. Now moving to the cymose inflorescence. So this flower is what? The pagoda flower. Okay, here it is what? The cymose inflorescence. Here the main axis ends in a flower. So this is the main axis. Okay, this ends in a flower. Okay, then it is just opposite of the what? The racemose inflorescence. There the manner of arrangement. Okay, that is what? Basipetal arrangement. Okay, so we can see the older flowers in the tip. Okay, here we can see the older flowers. Okay, these are all what? Older flowers can be seen at the tip. Then the younger flowers can be seen at the base. So this is the base. Okay, here. So this is the what? At the tip. Okay, this is the tip. So at the tip region you can see these are the what? The older flowers can be seen here. Okay, this is the older flower, anthricium, gynoecium, all may be there. Okay, this is the older flowers. Okay, older flower. Okay, at the tip you can see the older flower. Then the base here. In the base we can see the younger flowers. These are what? Younger flowers. Okay, so look here. At the tip there is what? Older. The base you can see the younger flowers. So that type of arrangement is known as what? Basipetal arrangement. And that type of arrangement is seen in the cymose type of inflorescence. Okay, and both of these inflorescence may have different types. Okay, that you will be studying in your higher classes. You will learn about different types of racemose and cymose type of inflorescence. Here I have just shown an example for you. Okay, so we are just completed our first chapter. Okay, so this chapter is completed. You may go through the textbook. Okay, then you have to read the textbook. Okay, there you can find some examples for all this, and you just read that. Okay, then if you find any doubt, if you feel any difficulty in learning any of these, you may just call me or you can message me. Okay, so now we are just concluding this section. Okay, so bye bye and thank you.